On the Fringe with Dan RadioStyle. Hope everybody out there's having themselves a great day. So much going on. We do got a little bit of stuff. The Cheney thing I wanted to bring up, the funeral. We've got a whole lot going on around this sedition conspiracy. We've got issues with potentially Bill Clinton and Hillary Clinton maybe getting arrested. We got till mid-December to find out. We'll see. We've got the walls falling down around the deep state right now, and we're seeing that play out in real time, which is also super fantastic. And then on top of that, there is a huge number of distractions that are filling our worlds. And I think many of us are stepping on the distraction landmines. Whatever. It is what it is. Some people, I always kind of figure if somebody's kind of getting stuck on the distraction, it might just be better, because if they were actually focused on the real thing, they might be one of the people that's trying to divide the good people away from the bad. I don't know. We've got this weird thing going on with Steven Crowder and Candace Owens. Again, I'm not sure how I feel about either of them, frankly, but whatever. Again, so many weird things going on in the world, and a little bit of everything in between. Oh, yeah. Trump's playing major hardball with this Ukraine war. This is going to be interesting as well. A whole bunch of stuff to talk about. Let's freaking get into it, baby. So here's the pictures that have been kind of shown everywhere. And this is inside the funeral. This is Dick Cheney's funeral. This is not a American flag. Looks like a kind of a Catholic-y kind of thing, I say, says the Catholic. But it's wrinkled as well, which is not normal per se. Now, again, a lot of people speculated about this. It's not an American flag. It's not a wrinkled American flag. Why is that? And that's just a question I'm asking to you guys. There's a lot of speculation, but what kind of got me was when they pulled him out of the hearse. He was. The coffin is draped in an American flag. And the images I've seen of this, which I've got essentially here too, it doesn't look wrinkled at all, does it? So this is, in my opinion, one of these stories that I've heard everyone saying this is how his coffin was. But the reality is this is how his coffin was, and then it was changed, or the flag was removed, and this was what was left behind. Again, why? I don't know. Your guess is definitely as good as mine. So something to kind of, again, it's funny how you hear people talking about stuff, and it's like, that's not quite what happened. Kinda, but not quite. It's misrepresenting, which I see a lot happening these days. Just not enough of the information is being pushed out. 100 Christian students have been kidnapped from a school by jihadists. This is in Nigeria, Catholic school in Agwara. Yeah, so again, more Christians being killed, being kidnapped. Obviously, a private school, they're going to have money to some degree, and I don't know how rich they are if they're out there in Agwara, but still, nonetheless. More of that going on. Charlie Kirk's head of security releases text messages showing that the UVU police chief promised, "I got you covered," regarding rooftop vulnerabilities. Now, there's a lot of speculation going on around Charlie Kirk, and what I've seen a heavy amount of it focused on people that are close to Charlie, people that were his wife, and a lot of people trying to pin it on them like they had a part in this. Now we've got this Egyptian airline military aircraft thing that was following them around. I'm not quite sure what that's supposed to be either. I mean, I'm not saying it's not true. I'm just saying I don't know what the hell Egypt's got to do with this now. Okay. Israel certainly being called out, and likely possibility for sure. So again, a lot of weird stuff that's coming out around this, and it is very interesting to me just to see the life it's taken on, right? Like, not everybody can be right on this one, right? There's a lot of people that are kind of very opposite sides of the spectrum. Now, frankly, paying off the police to allow somebody on the roof so they could take a shot, certainly does seem possible to me. That seems like one of the easier ways to try to get around it rather than having a government fly-in military aircraft wherever they go. Anyway, again, I believe whatever you want. I don't know. I've spent very little time wasting on those things, but it's curiosity at this point a little bit. Musk is calling out Soros' radical son. Can you please stop trying to destroy civilization just for, a moment or two? But this was Alex Soros responding to Open Society Foundations. We are standing firm in the face of any challenges. Our work in the United States is dedicated to strengthening democracy and upholding constitutional freedoms. Yeah, right. We stand by the work we do to improve lives in the United States and across the world. Our activities are peaceful, they say. And then Alex Soros chimes in, as the great DMX once said, we ain't going anywhere. And Elon Musk's like, can you stop trying to destroy civilization for like 5 minutes? That would be great. Thanks. I bet it's nice being back on the good side of things, isn't it, Elon Musk? I wonder if your stock prices went up when Trump tickled your belly. Socialism is a political doctrine. It's not an economic one. We've got countless examples of how this doesn't work. But one of the things this article really brings out, which is very true, and it's much what Mamdani did that was very successful, is you just make promises. You don't have to keep them. You don't actually have to keep them. The people that do vote for socialism will continue to vote for socialism, even on the promise. They don't need any sort of real facts to come into play. And that was kind of the point. It's like, you don't really need to. Like, there's no examples of it where it works. Every long-term example of socialism, or even, in our country, any heavily democratic area that's been democratic strongly for 30 years, they're the shittiest of the shitholes. They're horrible. Horrible. There's not one good example. Not one. Not one example. 0 examples. It's awesome. House passes resolution denouncing the horrors of socialism. This, to me, seems, it was just a symbology kind of vote, which I think they're ultimately just trying to figure out who the communists are in government, or just at least trying to get everybody else to see who they are. I don't know if this vote's happened yet. I don't believe so, but they're talking about it here.
And the House of Representatives voted on a resolution today to denounce socialism. Lawmakers made the case against the political and economic system, with Florida Representative Maria Elvira Salazar introducing the resolution.
The reason why we're introducing this resolution is to condemn the horrors of socialism, and I'm presenting just the facts. And I invite my colleagues on the other side to vote to condemn this nefarious ideology. This has nothing to do with political parties. This is not a Democratic issue. This is not a Republican issue. This is a moral vote against an ideology that has destroyed millions and millions of families. Many of them, I served those families in District Number 27, the heart of the city of Miami, the heart of the Cuban exile community, and now the Venezuelan community, and murdered more than 100 million lives, besides crushing hundreds of thousands of other families and individuals. Unfortunately, socialism and Marxism crushes the human soul.
Salazar also took to X this week ahead of today's vote. The Republican posted in part, quote, "Socialism has never produced freedom or prosperity, only suffering and authoritarian control." The lawmaker added, quote, "With this failed ideology gaining ground in the United States and throughout the hemisphere, I'm proud to lead this resolution and call out its dangers without hesitation." The House approved the resolution by a vote of 285 to 98, with 2 lawmakers voting present.
I think every time I say too many nice things about Alice Tang, then they take her off the air. Like Tiffany Meyer just does the main show now. I don't know. I know it's just coincidental, probably, right? It's not all about me. It's just kind of funny. Coincidence. California faces an $18 billion deficit over the next year, deepening their multi-year budget crisis. Yeah, he was just bragging about how we're the biggest economy and all that, which we still are. But yeah, their big budget shortfalls. This state is in big, big trouble. And even this article, which is really calling on some of the people that are a little more friendly to Newsom than not, basically calling it out like, any of the stuff you think you got that's going to save you is running out, and maybe already has. So we'll see. Stock market's still doing well. That is going to be one thing that could tip the balance. And that's one thing that is kind of expected to happen. When exactly they're going to try to time it out with the election. I don't believe they're going to be able to control the timing of it. I think Trump has them by the short and curlies, and so I think we're going to utilize it against them, and we'll probably trick them into action. And when they do, it'll fail for them. There's a lot of rumor right now that Powell's not going to lower interest rates. They're mixed on the board. We'll see. That should have been a done deal no matter what. But yeah, maybe it might actually work out that way where they don't. That's going to be something that Trump's going to freak out about. And he's already talking about how he wants to fire him, but he's not going to. This is all theater. We should all be getting good at reading between the lines when it comes to Trump. The Los Angeles County Board of Supervisors is pledging legal defense for county workers accused of obstructing federal immigration operations. Supervisor Holly Mitchell says any of LA County's 100,000 plus employees who act in good faith will receive legal defense if they're accused of obstruction. $18 billion deficit for the entire state. Los Angeles is bankrupt beyond all recognition, and now they're offering over 100,000 people free legal fees if they narc out ICE or whatever. That's peculiar, to say the least. The Trump administration, they just sued Gavin Newsom for giving illegal aliens discounted tuition, scholarships, and subsidized loans. AG Pam Bondi says California is illegally discriminating against American students and families by offering exclusive tuition benefits for non-citizens. This marks our third lawsuit against California in 1 week. We will continue bringing litigation against California until the state ceases its flagrant disregard for federal law. That's going to be a fun 2026. Trump's going to meet with Mom Donnie at the White House. It's supposed to happen today. I'm not exactly sure what time, but it hadn't yet. This would be fun to watch if I'm able to. But yeah, we'll see. A lot of people are suspicious if Mom Donnie's going to try to showboat. I think it was Eric Trump that was positing this and basically said, look, Trump's the master of showboating. And there's been like 20 leaders that have showed up and tried to do exactly that. And Trump is, basically shamed them in front of the public, right? So Mom Donnie will be interesting. If he comes at it from that direction, he's screwed. He's never going to get any help, and New York City will probably hit some form of bankruptcy in the near future for the second time in their history. If he comes in respectful, then it might be interesting what happens. So I don't know. We'll see. Because then Trump will talk positively about him, and he'll work with him as opposed to against. But we'll see. We'll see. New York's not generally very smart when it comes to stuff like that. Adams finally figured it out, so who knows? Pro-life activist sucker punches this chick during a New York street interview. She filed a lawsuit after DA Alvin Bragg dropped the case. Literally, this chick assaulted her, punched her in the face, jacked her face all up. This was her beautiful face prior to this chick punching her, right? And she hit her with something in her hand, too. I don't know what that was in her hand, but that's after. Right? And Alvin Bragg dropped the charges. It's New York. That's all I can say. New York. Literally, the chick punches her on camera. No question as to whether or not she's guilty. And drops the charges. Not even just out on the street. Drops the charges. She is rewarded for beating up somebody that was pro-life. The pro-life activist sucker punched was sucker punch. So she's pro-life. She's not even trying to be out there talking about abortion. Not abort. Anyway, it's blowing my mind. Pro-Palestinian activists besieged New York City's synagogue. They're saying Mom Donnie era has already begun. They're saying never forget the Nuremberg train did not accept I was following orders as a reason to commit crimes against humanity. Never forgive. They're all abandon Israel, and Palestine's not much better, by the way, guys. So neither way is necessarily good. But yeah, they're chanting globalize the Intifada, death to IDF, take another settler out, which, that's always positive stuff at an actual synagogue. Again, New York, right? I think this is New York. Yeah, East 67th Street. And Jewish day school, New York and New Jersey. It's becoming a mess. What's going on? We've got the guy that he's been set the woman on fire in Chicago. Initially, we were talking about how we thought he'd been arrested 49 times. Come to find out, he's been arrested 72 times. Out again, catches a person on fire on the subway. Good job, Pritzker. Good job. I forget the DA in Chicago. Good job, Mayor. What's your name? Brown? I don't know. Whatever the hell. Nobody knows you. Nobody cares about you. Governor J.B. Pritzker is dragged into criminal probe as shock texts emerge. It will open Pandora's box, they're saying. So President Trump's DOJ under Pam Bondi has launched a criminal investigation into Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker over his ties to Jenny Thornley, a convicted forger and close friend of First Lady M.K. Pritzker. Thornley, who volunteered on Pritzker's 2018 campaign, faked overtime and forged signatures while working for the Illinois State Police Merit Board. After facing investigation, she filed a workers' comp claim falsely listing Pritzker as her supervisor, providing his personal phone number and allegedly texting MK, "I need JB to know what's going on." A 2020 voicemail from Thornley claimed she spoke to JB directly. Internal probes found her sexual harassment accusations against her boss baseless. She was shopping on Amazon at the time. Her fraud cost taxpayers over $150,000 in payouts and legal fees, yet she repaid only $10,000, served no jail time, and had her light sentence cut short. A whistleblower lawsuit alleging Pritzker's involvement was dismissed on procedural grounds by ally AG Kwame Raoul before discovery. DOJ sources, "We are investigating this. Probe could involve mail fraud despite possible statute issues and subpoenas for Pritzker's communications, potentially opening a Pandora's box at the highest levels of Illinois government." Pritzker previously taunted Trump, "Come and get me." Well, it might seem the challenge has been accepted. Not 100% sure what this means. I don't think it's public, and this video does nothing to help. But they say at least 2 individuals are being treated medically following a fire in the underground subway system that leaks the U.S. Capitol with the Rayburn office building, the Rayburn House office building. So it must be some subway they're able to use to kind of move back and forth between these buildings without having to go into the public and face people. Apparently there's smoke down there, which that's weird. Like, who would have started that fire? Yeah. A $1.2 billion suspicious Epstein transactions, they're being looked into. Wyden is demanding an investigation after J.P. Morgan failed to report for years. Total flagged suspicious activity reports before 2019 is about $4 billion worth. Total flagged by J.P. Morgan in 2019, what was that? That was actually $4 million worth, sorry. They've got... looks like $1.2 billion now versus $4 million. It's now $1.2 billion. Like, damn. Way, way more. So, yeah, they're looking into it. Senator Ron Wyden from Oregon, he's a Democrat, calling for the investigation. Even some of the Democrats know we've got to look into this nonsense and find out who these people are, who they've been financing, who they've been giving money to, what they've been tied up in. All of this stuff's coming out. This whole Epstein thing is going to turn them on their own heads. So it's just going to flip them upside down. We've got a Black Friday sale going on at the wellness company, twc.health/OTF, twc.health/OTF. All sorts of great stuff. They're going to be giving 10% off on top of the discounts you're already getting. Supplements and prescriptions, med kits, the wellness farms, virtual care. All that stuff, they're knocking some money off. So check it out. Certainly the Contagion Kit's a good one. It's got your antivirals and an antibiotic and a nebulizer with like the airway opener, like asthma medication basically, which is essentially what it is. But if you're in a state where you can't breathe, that will damn near save your life. So this is an antiviral. If the flus sometimes kick your ass, like for me, I got rid of the virus part pretty quick, but the stupid cough and runny nose, man, it's like annoying. Well, not really runny, just congested. It's annoying. I'm tired of it. I'd like to get back to normal, where it should be. But whatever the case is, it's happening. We got Recharge going on, which gives you methylene blue, NAD, and PQQ. These 3 things working together just makes you a lot more sharp. You're remembering stuff better. It's just a lot. It's just great for mental acuity. People are loving it. Ultimate Spike Detox is it's designed to literally find that cleavage site. It like literally is designed, and then it just pulls it out of your system. This thing is awesome. If you rolled up your sleeve and or live with someone who did, this is definitely something you want to keep in mind. This is going to help get those spikes out of you. Also, their whole ivermectin situation or their line is fantastic. Obviously, the parasite cleanses. I love this thing. I love it. And it is powerful. You got 28 milligrams of the 25 milligrams, sorry, of ivermectin, and you've got 250 milligrams of mebendazole. This will knock parasites out of your body. You will actually notice. I'm actually tripping. One, when I drink beer, I'm not getting as bloated as I used to. Like literally, it's passing through me like it used to when I was younger. I have definitely made something happen in my body, and like I'm holding my weight way easier right now. It's really a trip. So the parasite cleanse is a big deal. I also have these little red dots that have almost all turned dark or black, looking like they're pretty much dead. They don't seem to be going away per se. Maybe there's husks there or something, which grosses me out when I think about it. But whatever the case is, these freckles seem to have stopped growing. I'm still getting some newer ones. I could see some small ones forming. So I put a stop to that. So again, a lot of us are way charged up with parasites in our bodies, and parasites are the cause of many things. In fact, there's a lot of discussions when they really roll out the 5G stuff. That's why a lot of people are going to start getting sick, is that certain level of parasites are going to start getting activated, and it's going to cause people to get sick. Every time we've ever had a major change on this planet when it comes to the electromagnetic spectrum and that bleeding that energy into the air, it affects humans. And every single time we've ever come out with something new, going back to the telegraph, I think that's when the Spanish flu was, and then the radio signals was the early 1900s. We got an interesting flu. Maybe that was the Spanish flu, but there was there was a major sickness back in the 1800s when they started the telegraph. So every time they've ramped stuff up, there's been additional sicknesses. So again, these are things that you want to consider. You want to, one, get that parasite load out of your system. Two, you want to have some sort of antiviral and it's got an antibiotic in there. It's got the Z-Pack inside that contagion kit. You want something like that because it'll take care of business if something does happen. You start getting that sniffle or that sore throat, immediately start taking the ivermectin and HCQ immediately, and you will kill it within a day or two. Then from there, it's just some lingering effects oftentimes, and you've got the antibiotic in case you get any infection. Other than that, I've found Mucinex is another good thing that kind of helps break stuff out of the chest when you get a little bit of congestion in there. But all said, you got to do what you got to do. They've got just plain ivermectin. This is actually the way I recommend going if you're just going to try to give yourself something on a daily basis, if you will. The ivermectin is reasonably priced, about $3.33 a pill, which is pretty good deal. And again, up here, you're looking at $600, but you've got one pill a day, so you got 90 pills, and you got, again, 25 milligrams of ivermectin, 250 of mebendazole. There's no way you're going to top that price. I mean, it's incredible. Also, they've got this ivermectin skin cream. People with skin cancers and stuff like that are raving about it. Again, extra 10% because of Black Friday, guys. This is a great time to buy. Drop. People are seeing weight loss really happen with the Drop product. It helps with your appetite. It helps speed up your metabolism, and it's just literally like a drop. I think you just put the drop in your mouth. I don't know exactly if it goes in water or your mouth. I don't know. It's the instructions are on there, but it's just a couple drops or whatever a day, and you are on your way. People are noticing huge results. Go to twc.health/OTF. That's TWC, the wellness company. twc.health/OTF. Healthy choices, healthy thinking, healthy life. President Trump was on Fox, and he was reacting to the top Democrats, including Schiff and Raskin, saying military leaders should ignore their orders. This is getting a lot of people fired up because they think Trump is being irresponsible, but that's not really what's up. He's just literally calling a spade, and this is not going to work well because it is insurrection, it is treasonous, and it is something that's shouldn't be happening from where it's happening. It's illegal.
Well, if you look at sedition, if you look at that type of, that's a very strong form of being a traitor. That's a terrible thing to say. I must tell you, I heard it, and I thought it was some kind of a comedy situation. I thought that it was some kind of a skit, and because I couldn't believe that they'd say it. And I watched Democrat congressmen and one Democrat senator yesterday on one of the shows. Didn't even want to discuss it. They said, whoa, don't get me into that one. They don't want to get into it. That is a really serious charge. I'll tell you what they said is, and it was, I don't know about the modern day things, because, modern day is a lot softer, but in the old days, if you said a thing like that, that was punishable by death.
Yeah, but you're not threatening them. A lot of people are interpreting there's a threat and there's security.
Well, I'm not threatening them, but I think they're in serious trouble. I would say they're in serious trouble. I'm not threatening death, but I think they're in serious trouble. In the old days, it was death.
Do you worry, Mr. President?
Seditious behavior.
Do you worry
that was a big deal.
Do you worry
today, nothing's a big deal. Today's a different world, okay? It's a softer, it's a meeker, milder world. But I will say this. I think what they did is really bad. The hatred is pretty strong. But what they say, essentially don't follow the orders of the President of the United States to the military.
Do you worry that some of your guys are going to say no?
Young privates and young corporals and young sergeants, and they're not scholars necessarily. There might be a few, frankly, but they're not scholars. They don't, study the Constitution, et cetera, et cetera. They know that. So these are people. These are bad people. These are people that, in my opinion, broke the law. Now, what happens to them, I can't tell you, but they broke the law. That is a terrible statement. I can say if I ever said that, and there were a Democrat as president, all hell would have broken loose. And it has broken loose. I have had more calls from people, even Democrats, saying what a horrible thing that was.
Yeah, it was illegal, stupid. So, yeah, we'll see where it goes from there. Donald Trump retruthed this, which is pissing everyone off as well. It's called a seditious conspiracy, and every one of them should be frog-marched out of their homes at 3 a.m. with Fox News cameras filming the whole thing. They had, Katie Good, KQ. Why aren't they under arrest for sedition, thrown out of their offices? Enough is enough. Amen to that. So he's retruthing all this stuff. Stephen Miller went to town on this. I've got 3 different snippets of his. We'll pretty much just play them back to back. Check it out.
Insurrection. Plainly, directly, without question. You say lengthy cross-examination. A single so-called illegal order, it just proves the point. It's a general call for rebellion from the CIA and the armed services of the United States by Democrat lawmakers, saying that you have not only the right but the duty and the obligation to defy orders of the commander-in-chief, that those who carry weapons in America's name should defy their chain of command and engage in open acts of insurrection, that the CIA, the clandestine service, which isn't even legally authorized to operate in the United States, should engage in, again, acts of rebellion and insurrection. These lawmakers should honestly resign in disgrace and never return to public office again for even daring to think, let alone to say these words and to say them proudly. But it shows what a dangerous moment we're in. We have seen the Democratic Party nurse the flames of violence and insurrection against the federal government for the last 10 months. When you see this continuous campaign of violence against ICE officers and Border Patrol agents, when you see Democrat sanctuary politicians and Democrat sanctuary governors side with the rioters, side with the assaulters over federal law enforcement, and that spills even into juries and grand juries, when you see Democrat jurors engage in nullification to let off violent attackers who are engaging in physical violence, physical assault against federal officers. This is a dangerous moment. You have a political party, an organization, the Democrat Party, and their message is that any action, no matter how unlawful, no matter how dangerous, no matter how much it threatens constitutional order, is justified if it keeps Democrat policies in effect. There is nothing graver that you could possibly say as a United States Senator than encouraging, urging, directing members of the armed forces of the United States or the clandestine services of the United States to defy their president, defy their chain of command, defy their superiors. To say such a thing would require you to have and to present to the nation some extraordinary scandal beyond even our wildest imagination, which of course they don't have, because every single thing that this president has done has been not only lawful, but has been repairing and reversing the unlawful and unconstitutional behavior of the previous administration, which opened our nation's borders up to millions of illegal aliens and foreign terrorists and gang leaders and cartel operatives and everyone else threatening peace, safety, and public order in the United States. So this conduct by these lawmakers is a direct attack on this republic. But there's an even deeper issue here that we have to understand. The Democrat Party has reached a point of extremism where the only thing that they believe is legitimate are the things that keep them in power and that keep their policies in effect no matter the will of the public. So, for example, if President Trump orders an illegal alien deported, they would have their district court judges block that deportation. But if they're in power, what will they do? End the filibuster, stack the Supreme Court, appoint 10 radical loyalists, and destroy our entire constitutional order forever. In other words, they don't believe in systems, they don't believe in rules, they don't believe in laws. They believe in whatever keeps them in power. And if what they think keeps them in power is a military insurrection or a CIA insurrection, that's what they support. But if in a different setting, if, say, a soldier doesn't want to take the COVID vaccine, then they represent a threat to order in their view, and that person must be crushed and deprived of employment, deprived of opportunity. If a Democrat, for example, complains about election integrity, that person's a hero. If a Republican complains of election integrity, that person's to be jailed and incarcerated for life. This is the moment that we're in. This is what we're dealing with. So when we say that Democrats are communists, we don't just mean that, well, they believe in the state control of property. We mean they've adopted a method of thinking in which any use of force is justified for their end state of power and control. So they become a third world party, and we have to internalize that. We're not dealing with the old Democratic Party. We're dealing with a third world party.
We literally are in a soft civil war right now. And hopefully it never goes hard. And, I think most of us are, to some degree, more prepared for it. I would say to some degree we're not, because a lot of the people that are on the other side of the fence are younger. So just from a standpoint of that, but they're also don't know much. We have a lot of experience. We have a lot of tools available to us, right? So I doubt that would ever be necessary to go to those levels. I do think there will be some sacrificed cities and areas, but it will probably serve sort of a purpose, if you will. Not that it's going to be allowed. It'll play out the way it plays out. But it will be demonstrated and used as an example for others to understand. So there is a heavy takeover. We were literally one presidency away from them winning. Trump turned towards them. He has screwed a lot of things. Likely was still commander-in-chief during Biden's presidency and is continuing his commander-in-chiefness as a president this time, though. So, again, a lot going on. Even Dan Crenshaw, Pirate McCain, even agrees, which scares me a little bit. I was going to pull up the video of him DJing, but I didn't want to. He had his eye patch thing was like this cool looking like Oakley, like the rainbow colored lens. It actually looked kind of cool, I'll be honest. I mean, normally I have nothing positive to say about this douchehole, but all said, for the one time in ever, I don't know. I think way back in the day, I used to kind of like him when President was Trump. I didn't realize he was a rhino yet. But he says, Crenshaw, the president is angry for good reason. Elected officials are telling active duty service members to defy the commander-in-chief's orders that are well within the law. These elected officials are attempting to undermine the command structure of the military. Their actions are inexcusable. It is treason. Everything's being played. Everything's being set. We've got a number of JAG people that have gone to D.C. to help with some of these cases, and we do know that they've added the second courtroom in Gitmo, and there's, my understanding, there's 3 other facilities in the world that we can do these types of things as well. We're heading towards that quickly. Now, again, we got to get elections taken care of for next year. We need to have some positive things happen with the economy and getting some laws passed. I think a lot of these arrests could come after the elections. And I can just see our side bitching about, you said you were going to do this. You still got 2 more years from that point. But I think we've got to get elections squared away. If we do that, then we'll actually do very well in the next election. And then, boom, it's time. And we're hopefully going to replace a lot of rhinos that have not gotten the memo, if you will. We'll see, as always. New court filings, including the grand jury transcript, show U.S. Attorney Lindsay Halligan properly obtained the indictment against James Comey. I mentioned this yesterday. Wanted to just, again, keep it on the front burner. There was 3 indictments on there. One of them they basically couldn't agree on. The other 2 they were all solid with. So Halligan, might have made a mistake in keeping the 3 on there, maybe missed that in some sort of perusing of this before filing it. Nonetheless, they've edited that, and refiled it, and they're well within their rights. So Comey's not going to be able to drop this. All the media spin that made this, and I admit I kind of wasn't sure either. I'm like, man, I hope they didn't screw this up. Like, I was given the benefit of the doubt, but it was kind of like, man, if you guys screw up the first arrest, that's not gonna work at all. We're gonna be screwed. So again, it was fun to see how many people just instantly came out of the gate saying they gotta fire Bondi. It's like, shit, what'd she do wrong? Nothing yet. Let's relax for a second, right? But we'll see. Bill and Hillary Clinton must appear in person for depositions December 17th and 18th. I think Bill's the 17th, Hillary's the 18th. Wouldn't want to let them do it on the same day because, then they could carpool. They need the whole day for each. At least they can stay in town together, right? And they'll stay at one of their friends' houses, Epstein's place or something, just for old time's sake. Maybe go to... Where's the Comet Ping Pong? Is that New York or that's New York, right? That's not actually in D.C. No, it's D.C., isn't it? Yeah, maybe they'll go back to Comet Ping Pong for old time's sake. We'll see. Kennedy is just, is this? No, sorry, this is something else. We'll go ahead and play this. I don't know who Brian Kennedy is, but, this guy. Yeah, this is about Tina Peters, I definitely want to see her out of jail, so here's his take on it. He was on the War Room.
I'm calling on President Trump, and I did that in an X-Post last night on Getter, not because she's 70, not because she's a Gold Star mom, and not because she's likely to die in prison, but because Tina Peters is a witness to the 2020 theft of an election. The president, as chief magistrate, could send the marshals into the Colorado prison. There are federal custodial witness protection programs that you could put Tina Peters under that would supersede Colorado law. You could take her to Washington, D.C. You could put her up in, this would be what I would do anyway, put her up in Blair House for a few weeks while she recovers. Then I would depose somebody or put someone from the Justice Department or the Assistant Secretary over at DHS, Dave Harvillitz, and I would use her as a witness as we're investigating the 2020 election. She is a witness to that. It looks to me and to many others like there was foreign interference in that 2020 election. There are national security implications to that and to any future elections. And so the perfectly sensible thing to do would be to use the power of the law such that the president has today as chief magistrate and get her out of that solitary confinement. Not to free her, don't supersede Colorado law in that sense, put her to work. She knows things. She fought for those things, and use those parts of your government, Mr. President, that want to investigate the 2020 election, which you yourself believe was stolen. Use Tina Peters to help with that.
Yeah, this is, again, what I didn't know about that magistrate thing, because I kind of figured hands were tied, but he did bring up a couple good points. I'm not sure what's up, right? But certainly Tina Peters, if we can get her out, that would be super awesome. And if she can even help us, fantastic. I don't know what happened to the data she used to have. That's probably gone. I don't think she can bring that with her, but she does know that there was significant changes. Something really interesting. Now, we've talked about Minnesota and their SNAP benefits, how it went up over 1,000% since during Joe Biden's administration. Well, what we're also seeing, and this will blow your ever-loving mind, much like with the HSS program, autism claims to Medicaid in Minnesota have skyrocketed in recent years, from $3 million in 2018 to $54 million in 2019, went from $3 million to $54 million in 1 year. 1 year later, 77 million. 77 million. 1 year later, 183 million. 1 year later, 279 million. 1 year later, $399 million, all supposedly for autism claims. Are you kidding me? That's not people getting autism. That is Minnesota is stealing money all over the place. SNAP benefits have to be taken out of the state's hands. Federal government, Trump, someone get this to him, please. God, you guys got to pull that money out. Make them re-subscribe like you were going to, then issue the cards yourself straight to the individual. Take the state out of it. The states are stealing that money. Stop letting the states steal so much money. In what, 4 years? 18 to 23. 5 years. They went from $3 million a year to $399 million a year. Minnesota, the Somali capital of the world. America's foreign-born population drops by 2.3 million thus far under Trump. Minnesota, it's probably gone up by, double that. U.S. District Court Judge Gia Cobb, appointed by former President Joe Biden, ruled on Thursday that President Donald Trump exceeded the bounds of his authority in ordering the deployment of the National Guard in Washington, D.C. In her ruling, Judge Cobb contends that Trump acted contrary to the law when he deployed the National Guard for non-military crime deterrence missions in the absence of a request from the city's civil authorities. They need to just take that back entirely. Again, this continues to happen. Trump had to pull the troops out of Oregon and Chicago, the ones that were from other states specifically. ICE detained over 3,500 illegals in this Dem city during the shutdown. What city was it? Oh, Houston. Look at that. During the shutdown, they nabbed 3,593 illegal immigrants. It's also the place where they had that individual hanging from the train bridge, which is very cartel-esque. We got some problems going on. 5 plead guilty in first Antifa terrorism case related to Texas detention center attack. This was, I think, Houston or Dallas. Where was this one? Dallas. This is where that guy, they shot into the van, I believe, killed 2 actual people. But there was a number of people that were helping. 2 people that weren't even cops, by the way. But they actually got these guys to admit to it. So you got Nathan Bowman, 20, Joy Gibson, 30, Seth Sykes, 22, Lynette Sharp, 57, John Thomas, 32. They all entered guilty pleas to 1 count of providing material support to terrorists during a hearing in federal court in Fort Worth. They each face up to 15 years in prison. Aaron Kelly, an attorney for Sharp, told the Associated Press the plea was just one step in a long process before the final sentence is actually determined. Attorneys for the other defendants couldn't be reached. Proceedings against other suspects involved in the shooting remain ongoing. A federal grand jury recently indicted 9 additional individuals on charges such as rioting, using explosives, obstruction, and the attempted murder of federal officers. It is happening. The walls are falling down. It will be biblical. I've got a ways before it can feel that way, but we're getting there. We're starting. It's happening. They're going to freak out too, by the way. CARE sues Texas governor after terrorist designation, calls the move unconstitutional and defamatory. So now the actual terrorist organization is allowed to sue if you call them a terrorist organization. I'm sure a district court will say that Texas can't do that. You watch. And then it'll be appealed. This is just the thing. But yeah, CARE is the Council on American Islamic Relations, the nation's largest Muslim civil liberties group, filed a federal lawsuit against Texas Governor Greg Abbott after he designated CARE and the other Muslim Brotherhood as foreign terrorist and transnational criminal organization. CARE called the designation unconstitutional and defamatory. It hurt our feelings, said CARE. Soros-funded group behind lawsuit to stop DHS fining illegal aliens for failing to self-deport. So again, now we've got Soros brothers, people that aren't even from this country, behind lawsuits because we're trying to find people so they'll actually leave this country because they're here illegally. Again, we're gonna get a district court that's going to tell Trump that he can't do that, right? I mean, again, it'll be appealed. It just makes everything take forever. But we know this. And I think we are doing our part in that we keep bringing attention. We keep adding heat to it. We keep fueling this heat. And because of that, people are talking about it. People are seeing it. People are noticing it. Whether they want to or not, it's showing up in their face. And so that's because of us. We're doing a fantastic job, guys. Security footage reveals suspected J6 pipe bomber visited a 3rd building before the Capitol riot, technically a 1st building, and then went to 2 others, which is where he planted bombs. This was the Congressional Black Caucus. He's fumbling around over by a bush or something, and then nobody saw anything or found anything. Maybe someone did find something, or like, nah, we don't need this right now, or whatever. I don't know. Maybe that NASCAR driver, Bubba Wallace, wasn't available, or maybe the dude from Chicago wasn't available. What's his face? The one that faked the attack, right? They didn't have all the proper people available, so they're like, nah, let's just get it out of here. No one's willing to fall on this sword. I don't blame them. Whatever the case is, they've got good video of him actually doing something weird over by a bush in front of the Black Caucus thing. And then he went to the RNC and DNC locations. I think DNC first, and then went to the RNC. Maybe that was where he changed his mind. Instead of doing the Black Caucus, like, you know what, let's do the Republican National. I don't know. I don't know if it makes me think they weren't that sure what their plan was, and I don't think that for a second. So I'm kind of under the suspicion that somebody found this and they dealt with it quietly and didn't make noise about it because the way it was found. And they're like, you fucked it up. So I don't know. That's my guess. That's my feel on it. But you guys let me know what you think. Put it in the comments. John Thune offers to revise the Senate phone data provision to instead send money from the lawsuits to the instead of to the senators themselves, but to the Treasury. Like, sue the FBI, sue the government, sue the taxpayer, and then give it back to the taxpayer. Why don't we just not do it, John? Why don't we just pull that stupid thing out? I mean, I know he's trying to appease the 8 senators. And again, I don't think it's cool that they got spied on, but whole bunch of us got spied on. So we've got, of course, Lindsey Graham that's like, yeah, so here's what I want to do. I want to let everybody that got spied on, they get to sue too. Yeah, Lindsey Graham, you're an asshole, dude. Stop it. Like, I get it. Like, this sucks, but we're all taxpayers, man. We got a huge deficit, and you're trying to figure out how we can offload money to very specific people. First off, people that did actually trespass. Now, again, I mean, they took down the fences. There's a lot to it. But if you went inside the building and thought that was okay, like, yeah, there's some questionable stuff going on there. I mean, again, I'm not okay with how things played out by any stretch of the imagination. But to actually think you could walk inside the building and, like, yeah, I wouldn't. There's no way in hell. First off, I wouldn't want to go to D.C. ever. Like, I mean, there's a couple things I want to see there, but outside of that, it's a nasty town. I just don't want to go there. It's disgusting. Maybe one day, maybe Trump actually will get people out of there and will clean it up and make it beautiful and golden. And maybe I'll even get invited to some stupid thing out there, and that'll be my excuse to go to D.C., right? And I'll be like, oh, the city's still sucks. Yeah, just kidding. Whatever. We'll see. But yeah, Lindsey Graham, pile of trash. Don't like him. Tim Burchett, though, he is kind of exposed what Elon Musk had come across. And this is really what Graham is definitely guilty of this. Now, again, is Graham on board with today's events? Is Graham going to end up getting strung out? Because I know for a fact he was involved with McCain. There's no doubt at all that Graham has got dirt all over him. He is a dirty, dirty bird, and I guarantee there's some improprieties for sure. So what's Graham doing? I don't know. Right now he's trying to enrich himself, but maybe he's like, come on, man, at least give me some money and reward me, because that's how he thinks. And really, that's not how it should be, especially at our expense. We need to stop all this. We need to stop blowing money like it's nobody's business. We need to stop just giving it away, because you know what? It's our money. So Tim Burchett's calling him out. And this is pretty powerful. Tim Burchett, with his strong language, careful language police, you might freak out when he says a dadgum. Watch out. Here he is, though.
What should happen to the Clintons?
They should be punished. We should get to the bottom of everything. We should find out where the money went. We should find out where the money went when they were down there in that island. Not just the Epstein Island, Haiti. Haiti. But too many people got rich off this. Look, Benny, here's how it works. It's just the NGOs, and let's talk about that non-government organizations which are government. Just my bill to defund the Taliban. 1,000 NGOs, plus you add the UN, probably 3,000 NGOs. The money flows, and Elon Musk had it right. And that's why I think both parties shunned themselves from him, because he said, hey, those NGOs, the money flows right back to Washington. And he told me, he said, I think it flows in the pockets of politicians. I mean, you had the ranking member of the committee I serve on that went through the bill to defund the Taliban, which still waiting in the Senate for them to pass it. All kinds of confusion over there. They're fighting over the NGOs. The money, he told me the money flows right from your pockets to the dadgum NGOs. The NGOs, the money comes right back to Washington in the form of dark money and in the pockets of politicians. That's why you're seeing Republicans go squishy on NGOs, because they're shady as hell. They all are. I mean, if you're involved in it, they are. Not everybody up here is. Some of them are just willing idiots. They just go along to get along, so they know that they'll get their crumbs, and they don't really ask where they come from.
Do you think that that's what Elon found, and that's why he was run out of the city?
That's my theory. That's my theory, ultimately. I think he was getting too close. I don't know if he found the specifics yet, but I'd say he was right on it. He was right on it. And then you don't see the media wrap. And I know I got to get on. I got to go. I got to get out. I got to get to my deal. C-SPAN. I apologize. But yeah, that's exactly what happened. I mean, it's money, it's power, and it's arrogance. All those three things is what runs this town.
It is, and it's I've heard a lot of people, both on our side and their side, but our side a lot, talk about how we've got all this corruption within our government, and rightly so, they're very angry about it. But what I ask you guys, if you were a politician, if you were trying to help, and someone offered you $10 million that nobody would find out about, to look the other way, vote a different way than you should, maybe do a non-vote, would you be able to do the right thing? Now, I know a lot of us are quick to say, yeah, of course I would. I would say most of the people out there that just said yes, I would relook inside, would you? You've got bills to pay. You've got kids about to go to school. You've got needs, investments that you could maybe make to make sure that you're okay once you get out. Again, not saying it's okay. I ask myself these questions often. I think I would do better than most. But, I mean, I think technically everyone's got a price. I don't think my price would ever be reached because I'm not about the money. I just haven't been. I work for God, so he takes care of me. I do okay. I don't want, that's for sure. But at the same time, that's not what it's about for me. I don't lose sleep because of money. I lose sleep because of helping you guys properly. Temper shit's on it. See, even with his dadgums. I'm sorry that you had to hear that. I know. Oh, my ear bled a little bit. It did. I was ready for it, though. Kennedy, I just like him. I don't know if this is necessary to share, but it's just him talking, and I always like when he talks. It's just funny.
Why have we sat around for 5 months and not started on the second reconciliation bill? I just don't get it. I don't get it. I mean, in my opinion, and really, I'm just making an observation. To me, it's a 12-piece bucket of stupid not to do another reconciliation bill and to waste 5 months before we even start on a second reconciliation bill, assuming that we get started tomorrow. I mean, humans are supposed to have evolved as a species. Why would we not do a second reconciliation bill? Think of what we could do. I mean, moms and dads all across America tonight are going to lie down to sleep, and they won't be able to. What are they worried about? Well, they're worried about the cost of housing, for one thing. They're worried about the cost of home insurance. They're worried about the cost of flood insurance. They're worried about the cost of health insurance. We all know that. They're worried about the cost of living.
Yeah, they're worried about real life stuff. What's inside their house. It's funny, I saw a funny meme. It's not really funny, but close to truth. It showed a poor person's refrigerator versus a middle-class person's refrigerator, and middle-class person's refrigerator is just like empty. There's like 5 things in it, 20 things maybe, whatever. Then you got the other poor refrigerator that's just jammed full of stuff. Obama-appointed judge blocks Trump from ending temporary amnesty for Syrian nationals. One of these cases has already gone up and gotten kicked back down, and so this will for sure. But again, same old. Now, again, I asked this question, and I'm sure a lot of you guys are on the same page with me, and I'm starting to understand the game a lot better. And I'm gonna go ahead and posit my thoughts, and I'm curious what you guys think. Hey, hit the thumbs up, by the way, if you can, and also make sure you're subscribing. Make sure you're on one of the places I actually am. If you don't know where to find me, Rumble and BitChute are two of the best. I am on YouTube if you want to try to go there, but I have to cut a lot of stuff out of YouTube very frequently. They make me cut stuff, so whatever. It's up to you. You're not going to get the same show. It'll be shorter in most cases, but it won't always be the same show. But Rumble's really the best place, and just search On the Fringe. You'll find my channel. I've got a hearty chunk of subscribers, and it does flash on the bottom as well. But yeah, it's literally On the Fringe, one word, and you will get to me. Or you just do the channel on the rumble.com, right, /C/On the Fringe. That's me. Obama-appointed judge blocks Trump from ending this. This is the stuff that needs to stop, right? GOP barreling towards Obamacare cliff as prospect dims for subsidy extensions. It's too late. Open enrollment's already happened. The money's not going to happen. This is all supposed to happen. Trump's basically said, no, we're not doing an extension. I will friggin' veto it. There's no way they'll be able to pass it with enough people to not get vetoed. So this is not going to happen. Again, why, right? Like we've got so many. I don't even remember where I was going to go. I went into my little last thing, but we've got to figure out why this isn't happening yet, right? Why is he letting this happen? Why are we letting these district judges, that's where I was going, why are we letting these things continue? District judges should be impeached. We're trying with Boasberg. That might be the experiment. I mean, he's pretty dirty. He's been involved with almost everything. I think he's been involved even with some of the stuff Trump was being personally attacked, right? Back before he became president again. So why hasn't any of that stopped yet? Why hasn't the Supreme Court done something about it? Why? They want this to happen. They need it to happen. So then the question is why? Well, I guess because of what we're seeing. Because we're realizing that a lot of these district judges who have way too much power, they should not be able to shut down a federal government, shut down the commander-in-chief, shut down the actual administration, and they're just in a district because some national union sued in their district, judge shopping, able to shut down the whole government. Now, again, almost 100% of these have been turned over on appeal. And if not, go up to the Supreme Court and they're getting turned over, which is better kind of when that happens, but the Supreme Court's so bloody slow, it's painful. So why haven't these things been fixed yet? Because they're not supposed to be yet. They're still supposed to be talked about. If it's still happening and we don't like it and we're uncomfortable with it, it's because we need to keep talking about it. We need other people to see it and be uncomfortable with it. Once we get enough people that feel that way, we can change it. It's all it comes down to. It's numbers. And that's where the ripples happen, right? I don't have nearly enough people, but I do when I multiply through your guys' ripples. And you guys put your spin on it. Make it yours. Make it your discussion. Don't be like Dan said. I mean, that works if you want, but no, make it yours. That's awesome. I don't care. Don't steal my content and claim it's yours. That's different. Take the understanding of the idea and then make it yours. Right? Put it in your own words. Interior Department proposes opening waters off California and Florida for oil drilling. This is going to benefit the nation, not the state, which is very funny because that's not state land. Sorry, California. You don't get any of that money. We got lawmakers wanting to block U.S. purchases of Chinese chip-making equipment, which they should have done already, but China's sneaky that way.
A bipartisan group of lawmakers introduced the Chip Equip Act yesterday to that end.
The act would prohibit companies that received CHIPS Act funding from buying specialized semiconductor manufacturing equipment from companies owned or controlled by the Chinese Communist regime.
Lawmakers say the CHIPS Act was meant to reshore semiconductor manufacturing. They say it was, quote, common sense to make sure it doesn't support foreign adversaries.
The Justice Department has charged 2 Americans and 2 Chinese nationals with funneling hundreds of restricted NVIDIA AI chips to China. Prosecutors say the group used a fake real estate company and falsified paperwork.
The indictment alleges the technology was sought for weapons development and advanced surveillance.
See, China's very desperate for these awesome chips, and they need them because they're the best in the world, hands down. The stuff that China can make sucks. Sucks comparatively. They keep trying to make claims. And I keep seeing a lot of people trying to make it sound like China's kicking ass. It's like, they're not doing, they're just not. China's not as far along as a lot of people want to give credit. They can mass produce stuff in a huge level, but the quality of the stuff they make is still reasonably crap. Their bridge, after being open, how many months? 5 months? Been open 5 months and the bridge collapses. Good job. Good job there. That's how you build a bridge. So again, their craft is not as far along. They've got 3 aircraft carriers. We have 11. Now 3 is impressive because no other country has anywhere close to that. All other countries, the most they have is 1. China's the number 2 person at 3 aircraft carriers, 2 of which they've purchased, 1 of which they built. And us at 11. Again, we've got stuff, and our submarine technology, though I don't know why we're letting North Korea help with that. I think it's probably to produce more subs, or more ships, but whatever. Anyway, another day, another topic. But Scott Bessent talking about the rare earths. We've finally manufactured some of our own magnets here in the United States for the first time. It's kind of a cool story in the big picture, especially when talking about China.
First rare earth magnet made in the United States in 25 years. It was made at a plant in Sumter, South Carolina. 800 construction jobs, 300 factory jobs, and the plant manager said that they could be going up to 3,000 jobs. And Laura, the great story there is many of those were laid off Caterpillar workers. But so I am very optimistic about the first, second, and accelerating into the third quarter in terms of growth. But I think what's important here, Laura, is we are going back to Trump-style growth, which is high growth, low inflation, which is just the opposite of the Biden years.
Yeah, well, actual success is essentially what he's talking about, which, the Biden years had no idea what the hell that was. Trump again fumes over Jerome Powell on interest rates. Yeah, he's just, again, this is all theater. I want to fire the guy. You can't fire him out loud. I'm going to fire him. I'm going to do it. You watch. Yeah, you're lucky I got one arm behind my back right now, or else I'd fire him. He's just playing a stupid game with them. Pretty fantastic, right? There's reasons for that. Now, Bitcoin has managed to recover some of its nastiness today. Man, it was down in the 82-something earlier today. It took a big shite earlier today. And, again, all cryptos are not. They've come back a little bit, but they're all doing pretty poorly. XRP's under $2 now. Yeah. Cryptos have been, it's been a tough week for cryptos, man. Whatever. For them, against them, I don't give a crap, frankly. But gold's up a little. I'm assuming silver's probably positive. If silver's down almost $1. No, it's down 17 cents. All right. Gold's up $28, not much, but still over $4,000. Silver's over 50 still. It must have had a bad day earlier. Did it go way down? Oh, it did. It went way down earlier. Man, they do weird stuff with it. Don't know. I don't know if somebody sold a bunch of it, or it's probably paper contracts that do screw it. That's why it's really better to go to Kitco. I always go to the stock market because, frankly, it's easier. You can see a bunch of info. But, yeah, all said, not good. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. put this out, remembering my dad, his 100th birthday. Looks good for being 100, doesn't he? You can see little Kennedy there. It's cute. Cute picture. Maha and GLP-1s are about to deal a big blow to the processed food industrial complex. They're expecting about $53 billion to fall out of the junk food, and probably even alcohol too, because so many people are doing the GLP-1s, which I think are those the drugs, the weight loss drugs, like Novo Nordisk and whatever the other one is, Ozempic, I think, right? Isn't that one of them? Anyway, whatever. People are going to be like losing weight and then kind of focused on, 1, not eating, and 2, not eating crap, that they're actually going to probably lose a lot of money. Now, there is the fear, and a lot of people, and this is what, it's like anybody that does quitting cigarettes or something, right? Like you'll just have one. I can smoke one cigarette, and then that one cigarette will turn into, you're going to buy a pack on the way home, or 2 days later, you're going to be bumming a cigarette off somebody. It's just one more. Eventually, you're smoking again, right? It's one of those things where you can't ever do it again. And so a lot of people, when they lose the weight, right, through whatever means necessary or can, that they ultimately will go back to some of the bad habits that led to the weight gain to begin with. So we can't do that. So we got to make sure we stay positive. But there's a large number of these people that will probably go back into poor eating and gaining weight. It took a long time to gain it, so sometimes it'll kill your body, though. That's the thing. It may not put the pounds on you as fast, but you've already done a lot of damage to your organs at that point, right? So just be careful, guys. Just be careful. It's not just about weight. And we've done a lot of damage to our bodies over years of being obese. So we got to be careful. But yeah, there's a lot of stuff. People aren't buying it. We don't need to break it down. Collagen, a very natural way to ease osteoarthritis, sorry. And really, the word collagen is kind of funny. It comes from the Greek word glue. That's where it comes from. And it's the main protein that holds our bodies together. It's super important. So for cartilage, tissue, all that stuff. All right? If you're having issues in your joints, all that stuff is about collagen. It's one of the key products that I like. We're probably just going to talk about this collagen today. I'm just going to try to keep it simple. I need a break. That's what I need. But this collagen is the best. And the reason it is because a lot of times people are getting collagen supplements that are powders. A lot of people do, mix it in your coffee or whatever. But the powders actually, believe it or not, don't always necessarily dissolve as much as you want them to. And they can create almost like a paper mache on the inside of your stomachs, which can actually affect just the ability for your stomachs to absorb, can cause some aggravations. It's just not necessarily always the best products that we're getting. What's amazing about Amaze is it's a liquid. So it's a liquid, it's delicious, and it's a peptide, so it's that smallest liquid molecule of collagen that you can get. And when you drink it, it is immediately getting into your system. It's absorbing into the stomach. It's absorbing once it starts heading into your digestive tract in any way, shape, or form. It is almost immediately being absorbed because it's in that smallest form already, and it's a liquid. It doesn't need to dissolve or anything weird like that. It's already dissolved. It's perfect. And collagen's one of the most important things when it comes to your skin, your muscles, your joints. All of those things are working together. Your hair. It's awesome. And your skin especially. You'll notice it with your skin. Get on the Amaze. Use this product. You want to go to danradiostyle.healthyhome.com. That's danradiostyle.healthyhome.com. Take advantage of the Amaze. I talk about these products all the time. Most of you guys, unless you just started watching me today, you know all the other products. Check them out. They've got all the products that are going to help you stay healthy. That's what it's about. It's about thinking healthy. It's why I like the products I push. They're helping you stay healthy. They're helping you think healthy. They're helping you remove fear and anxiety because of what could happen and rather focus on moving forward. And if something happens, you're prepared. Always prepare for the worst, hope for the best, and focus on where we're trying to go. And trying to be healthy is one of the places we're trying to go. Certainly, danradiostyle.healthyhome.com will make that possible. That's danradiostyle.healthyhome.com, danradiostyle.healthyhome.com. Yummy. We got a great music show coming up today, too. For those of you that watch my show after the effect, it's going to be kind of some lost 80s hits. I don't know. I mean, nothing. Well, I kind of grabbed a weird song in the first set, actually the fourth song, just to be specific. It is, I don't know, never heard it before. The beat caught me. It was just a cool song, and I like it. So it's getting played. And then I got a kind of a crazy Aldo Nova song in there that I think some people might be questionable. But it's a good song, though, so I think it just belongs to be there. And then everything else is, I think you're going to be stoked. It's going to be songs like you probably haven't heard in a while. I think you're going to enjoy it. So a lot of good fun we're going to have in that. I got 4 sets of music, and we'll close out the Friday like we always do in a raging fun kind of fashion. There you go. American military contractors mistakenly landed on Playa Baghdad, Mexico on Monday, planting 6 signs that declared the beach as restricted U.S. Department of War property. I don't think this was an accident. They're calling it an accident because it was 2 miles south of our actual border. I don't think it was an accident. I think it was cartel land or something, or just pissing off China. I don't know. There's something to this. We didn't do this on accident. There's no way we accidentally drifted 2 miles south of the border. No. 0 chance of that happening. No, this was on purpose. 100% on purpose. We wanted to make a point. And, you know, Claudia's already said, you better not attack anything on our land. And I think we just accidentally did. And we might very well have gotten something that lived close to the beach. during this exercise. I'll have to go to Real Raw News to find out what actually happened. I'm sure they've ended up over there. Russian tanker idles near Venezuela after U.S. warship enters the path. There's a Russian tanker that's been trying to get to Venezuela, 2 different attempts it's tried to make, and every time it's tried to, this Arleigh Burke class destroyer goes between it and the land. So part of what we're doing right now is an embargo as well. So there's a lot of reasons why we've got warships where we've got them. This isn't just about necessarily taking out the drug cartels, though it is. But this is also about starving Maduro and the drug cartels of money and oil and the abilities to do anything. We are hurting them a lot. Maria Corina Machado's manifesto offers Venezuela its first true conservative choice after years of socialist opposition. There you go. Hopefully we can get her in power because she got voted in. She's just not been allowed in. This Kiev Russian thing, this is going to be awesome. This is going to be awesome. So Trump, we've talked about it, his 28 plan. Points number 25 and 28 stipulate as follows. Ukraine will hold elections in 100 days. They have to have elections. Yeah, Zelensky doesn't like that. They're also going to have to give up land. Zelensky doesn't like that. In fact, they've kind of said it's already a no-go. It's a no deal. U.S.-backed Ukraine peace plan. Kyiv's coalition is in scramble mode. They're literally freaking out. They're like, crap. He's like, we're stuck between a rock and a hard place. It's either going to be a very, very difficult decision for us to give up land, or we're going to have a really difficult winter. It's true. They're going to lose more land if they continue this war. No doubt about it. Now, Zelensky so far is refusing to fire the influential chief of staff that's been caught up in this whole corruption scandal that's going on. So Andrei Yermak's dismissal, saying this is what the MPs are calling for. He was involved in this recently uncovered corruption scheme. Apparently, Zelensky has made it clear he will not relieve his influential chief of staff. Zelensky is being isolated. He's probably barely setting foot on Ukrainian soil because they'd possibly arrest him. I don't know. I mean, that would be a big, big deal if they did. But he is definitely not about helping his country. He's about making money. Now, Kiev has removed anti-corruption clause from the U.S. peace plan. This whole thing, we were supposed to be able to look at the books of all the money that's been given to them and find out where it's gone. They essentially removed that. Trump might be willing to make that concession, kind of like, all right, we'll let you keep what you've managed to get, but you, nothing else. And you give up the land, you get out, you get elections, and that'll be it. You take your money and run. All you guys, if you can get away with it, if we catch you, we're going to catch you. But if you can get away with it, all right, damage is done, whatever, right? Might be the cost of doing business, if you will. So we'll see how this plays out. If they even play remotely hardball at all, Trump's going to insist that's in there, and in fact, he's going to highlight it in bold. Zelensky says Ukraine risks the break with the U.S. over Trump's plan to end the war. Yeah, because if he doesn't go with this, we're done. Ukraine and Europe are both rejecting Trump's Russia peace plan because they can't have the war end. They need it. They have to have it. They can't live without it. Trump knows that. Putin knows that. Zelensky and Europe know it. And NATO can't fight this war. They don't have any weapons. They've got very few. England, you might have some that you can give up. I think Germany's gotten rid of everything. France is what little it actually has given is probably gone. So, and Hungary's not going to, and Italy's not going to. Yeah, it's falling apart for them. U.S. is threatening to cut Ukraine weapons supply and intel sharing. So they're no longer going to be able to make deep strikes into Russia because we've been giving them that info. And we've already cut info sharing with England, supposedly, or they cut it with us. So they're not going to get any of our information. They're not going to be able to help. And outside of that, they got nothing. So we'll see how this plays out. But Ukraine's going to get annihilated if we don't keep helping them. And it's their choice. They're getting annihilated even with the help. And to say, no, we're going to insist on the war continuing. All right, well, we're going to stop helping you because this is stupid. This is stupid. So if you're dumb enough to keep doing that, all right, we'll let you. It's sad. It's really sad. But it should be easier for Russia now. Hopefully they kill as few of you as possible. Putin's in military fatigues announces another key Ukrainian city captured. Kupiansk? I don't know. It's an important rail junction, apparently, there. Yeah, he's just taking over everything. He's having no issues, and he's showing it off with his fatigues. Indian Tejas fighter jet crashes in a ball of fire at the Dubai Air Show. Apparently, he's meeting who's the multi-armed lady, the destroyer. Yeah, she's met him. It looks like he tried to do something crazy and did what we call failed. Yeah, he done blowed up, so we don't really see the explosion per se, but yeah, boom, not good. He didn't survive that. The pilot did not, so that's very sad. We've got Mike Huckabee went to Israel to lobby for the release of the convicted spy traitor Jonathan Pollard, who was serving a life sentence for stealing the NSA's signal intelligence manual and giving it to Mossad. Again, we are going to assume stuff in there. I don't know. I mean, Huckabee's been given permission to do this. This guy might know some stuff. Again, I'm going to assume this is going to benefit the white hats for doing it, but or if not, it's going to connect him to who he gave it to. You know, like Israel might not let him go, frankly. We'll see. Netanyahu visits Israeli troops inside of southern Syria in a provocative first. He blurs out all of his people's faces because they might get busted for war crimes. I don't know. We're in a weird place. Israel's being saved for last, I think. Again, it's not the country I believe very much. It is the deep state heavily there, but the Khazarian Mafia is very, very, that's like a major military wing of them. And they're being cut off, I think, by us to a large extent. They're not necessarily playing ball. We're not necessarily quick to sign the expanded budget with them. Trump's playing hardball, and Netanyahu knows. He knows his days are numbered, and he's being challenged. He's being challenged all over the place. Now, Trump is playing the game right. He's like, hey, you guys should, let him not, what was it when you, sign off the Hunter Biden's, auto pen type stuff? Like, they want them to let Netanyahu off the hook for the things he's done that's illegal. But again, these are just theatrics. It's got to look like we're trying to help. There's only so much we can do. Trump's not going to put his neck on the line for Netanyahu, and looks like we're going to find out Netanyahu is probably not a good guy. We'll see how it all plays out. Again, my love for the Jewish people that are going through this difficulty, but yeah, the deep state is deep in a lot of places and needs to be pulled out, and unfortunately, Ukraine and Israel are two places where it is very heavily involved. Very heavily. UK police chief says people raising British flag are fueling division. Right, the thing that unites the country is divisive. Oh, man, it's hard to watch what you guys are going through in England. Wow. Former aide to GOP rep Van Drew has been charged for faking a bizarre, violent political attack. This is a GOP person that did what do they call that dude? I was forgetting his name earlier. I'm still forgetting his name. I think they put it somewhere down in here. But yeah, who's the guy that went out and said the Trump people attacked him? I can't remember his name in Chicago. What's his face? That was on that TV show or whatever. Stupid, whatever. This chick did the same thing, but she's GOP. Former GOP aide charged after allegedly staging a Smollett-style hoax where she paid a fetish artist to mutilate her body along with Trump whore written on her stomach. Natalie Green, 26, was found hog-tied with black zip ties at Egg Harbor Township Nature Reserve. She had this done to her because she's a freak. It's cool if you're into cutting, but whatever. That's not cool. That's not healthy, by the way. And then had someone hog-tie her and leave her, but I'm sure immediately call it in. Like, don't leave me out here. I'll get cold. But yeah, she got all sorts of carved up. Yeah, man. I knew one girl that used to cut herself. It was weird. I called her out on one time. I was like, you cut yourself. And she's like, I've never had anyone say that to me before. And I'm like, Yeah, it kind of just came out of my mouth. I didn't really mean it to. Candace Owens has declined to debate Steven Crowder. He's upping the ante. He's apparently offered her the $30,000 appearance fee, which good on them. Well, pay you $30,000 just to show up. Not bad. Not bad. Steven Crowder's like, I'll give you my $30,000. You'll make $60,000 just to show up and talk. Whatever. I don't necessarily trust either of them, to be honest with you. Stratospheric warming sparks Goldman warning of looming U.S. polar vortex. I don't know. We got another vortex thing coming in next week. This week, next week. It's supposed to get super cold. So there you go. Just keep that in mind. A big old vortex going to go sweeping through our country. Then it's going to kind of warm back up, they say. I think this one is the one that shows after effect, and it just kind of warms up. Again, we don't know. Our models suck, but whatever. We'll see what actually happens. I mean, especially when they're screwing around with our weather. New NTSB images are showing the moment that UPS air freighter's engine ripped off the on takeoff. Literally, the second it rotated, the whole engine just snapped off. Just literally, you can see it just going vertical, the engine itself. When it ripped off, that's what caused the fire. And yeah, they cleared the ground. They got up about 30 feet in the air. They ended up clipping, oddly, a UPS building, which I thought was weird. But they hit their own warehouse, or at least one affiliated to them. And that is what caused them to start to spin, because they hit it with their gear. And yeah, this plane, I don't know if it could have made it. It looked like they were trying to drop fuel and stuff. I mean, they did have two engines, but they were probably full of freight, so they're probably very heavy. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't know if they could have pulled it off, well, especially with a giant-ass fire like that. And, yeah, and losing the engine, and that's already going to put you in a bit of a pitch. But you still had two engines at least, but still not on takeoff. Takeoff, you need all your engines, so it's very sad. I think I showed this yesterday. I don't know. NASA's apparently put pictures out. Nobody likes them because it doesn't confirm what they thought it should confirm. Again, these are weird time-lapse photos because all these little white things are kind of weird how there's stars in the background, and that's why they do that, but this just blurs. So again, all the images of this thing are crazy. I will say that a lot of the information I keep seeing people talk about, I never see anyone actually offer any evidence of it. Like, they talk about how it's going faster and it's sped up. Like, okay, what was it doing, and then what speed did it go? I've never heard anyone give any actual numbers. No one. Even the angry astronaut guy that some people I saw sharing. And again, he's someone I kind of watch every once in a while. Yeah, he's not even. Though I'm not surprised he's agrees with Avi Loeb. He's Israeli intelligence working at Harvard. Just right off the bat, he had two huge giant red flags, waving them in front of everybody. So I've been hesitant about this all along. But yeah, there's now a whole story about there's a thing coming, another thing. I forget the name. It's Russians have found this one. So whatever. We'll see. Who knows? Maybe we all, maybe I just get to be wrong and we'll all be talking about UFOs and shaking their hands here coming up in the near future. I look forward to it if that's the case. It'd be awesome. Though I know a lot of different theories as far as whether or not they're good or bad. MIT completed the first brain scan study of ChatGPT users, and the results are terrifying. ChatGPT impairs memory and persistently suppresses brain activity, raises urgent concerns about cognitive offloading and long-term neural harm. There you go. All these people, I keep hearing it too. I asked ChatGPT about it, and this is what they said. Like, that's supposed to matter to me. Like, that's what's funny to me. I'm like, people say that, and I'm like, so? Who gives a fuck what ChatGPT thinks? Tell me what you think, if anything. I don't give a fudge what ChatGPT thinks. Again, I've used it to correlate large amounts of information and not to give me an opinion, ever. Never once have I asked it to tell me something like that. It's like more like, hey, what do you know about such and such? Can you give me information on that? And it just pulls a whole crap ton of stuff from all these different locations. Saves me a bunch of time that way. It even cites its sources. Well, I'm like, all right, I like this. This is cool. But that's like, I've done that twice, I think. And I've used it to make some thumbnails because it's just, there's certain things I definitely can't do. Like, I can't morph things I can't manufacture images. I'm not that good, by even close. So I've borrowed it for that too. But all said, I don't use it. I'm bad with the internet, though. Like, people will talk about and ask questions. Yeah, what's such and such? I don't know. I used to know. And I'll be like, well, let's look it up. At least have the answer. It's just stupid. We can at least be happy that we know it now. Right? Whatever. Yeah. People that use ChatGPT or Grok or whatever often, these are people that are slowly losing their abilities to think. They will tell you the opposite, though, by the way. They're going to tell you, no, I just use it for X, Y, and Z. But whatever. X, Y, and Z, they're no longer able to do themselves. This almost immediately creates issues. Like, I could use it to help me edit my videos. I don't. One, I don't want it on my system. Big time. And two, I don't want it in my voice. I want them to have to work for that if that's what they're going to do. Pennsylvania bill, the Jetsons Act, aims to greenlight the flying cars. Elon Musk is supposed to be putting out, some are saying this might be the car, the little floating car. It's kind of cool. I think I've played this before. Yeah, I mean, I this is kind of crap technology, but it could work. Again, I just love the idea that people could be flying over your house, which if you just think about how loud that would be if they're just barely above your home, and then if they crash into somebody or screw up or slam into your house or whatever, I mean, again, they're going to have to carry insane insurance. God, the insurance on one of those things is going to be astronomical. All said, whatever. We got crazy stuff going on. I hope you guys join me for my music show. Happy Friday to those of you that made it. Not sure if I'll do a video tomorrow. We'll see. I got a weird busy weekend, but I'm going to try to get a video out Sunday anyways, no matter what. But a lot's going on, guys. And by the way, you guys gave me Thursday off. That was really, really nice of you. So last night we took a small poll during the Law of One show, and people said they were cool to not make me work next Thursday on Thanksgiving. So I will not have to do a Law of One episode next week. We will continue that the following week. I will still be doing a music show this coming Friday, and I will probably still do a regular news show on Thursday, but I will not be doing the Law of One live show later at 3 o'clock. Just doing the 3 o'clock Friday music show. All set. I love you guys. I'm looking forward to spending more time with you. Where we go one, we certainly go all. It's On the Fringe with Dan Radio Style.